Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk with you about propagation of vanilla orchid. I'm not a vanilla orchid specialist, but I did attend a vanilla orchid symposium that was held locally where the presenters did know a lot about vanilla. So I picked some things up. I understand some aspects of vanilla biosynthesis and propagation. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the vanilla orchid. There's quite a few different species of vanilla orchid. I have in my collection, I have 5 different vanilla plants and 2 different species. I've got vanilla planifolia, which is one of the main species that vanilla is made from, and then I have got vanilla pompona. That is a large leaf vanilla that can grow really quickly and really far. Vanilla is it's a vine, so normally these vines and these plants will grow up whatever support is close to them. In nature they grow up trees, really whatever is available. In commercial production facilities they grow up, they're interplanted with other plants and they grow up those trees as well. The vanilla in vanilla orchid actually comes from the seed capsule. So you have to pollinate the seed capsule in order to get the flower, sorry, in order to get the capsule to form. It's also referred to as vanilla bean and vanilla pods, but I think the appropriate scientific term, the botanical term is capsule. So the flower has to be pollinated. In nature, the flower on the vanilla orchid, there's something in between where the pollinia are. There's a flap in between where the pollinia are located and where the stigmatic surface is. And this flap has to be removed in order to get successful pollination. And then again, once you have the successful pollination, you have to wait quite a few months in order to get the seed capsule to form. After the seed capsule forms and after it matures, it's dried, and then the capsules are harvested and cured, and then you get the really nice vanilla fragrance or flavor that's associated with this. Vanilla orchid seeds are also a little different from most orchid seeds because the seeds themselves are large by orchid seed standards. So that's again another difference. At the symposium that I went to, at the end, or one of the exercises was to sample a number of different vanilla from different sources, and they were natural vanilla, there were synthetic vanillas, there were a whole lot of different, and it was interesting because different people in the room had their different favorites. It was a blind tasting. So there's all different types of flavors and all different things associated with. There's different components that are in vanilla. So the major component is it's either said vanillin or vanillin. So the plant propagator junior actually worked on, for her master's degree in chemical engineering, she worked on vanillin biosynthesis from sugarcane bagasse. So it's the residue of sugarcane. Some of the cell wall components can be chemically converted into vanillin or vanillin. And so it's interesting, she worked on that for her master's degree. So that it can be chemically synthesized from either a natural source, or it can be synthesized from other sources as well. But that's just one of the components, and usually the vanilla that you buy in the stores, if you get natural vanilla, and if you have the beans that are cured, it's a variety of different components that will impart the taste and the flavor and the scent of vanilla. So depending on what you like and what you're interested in, the different sources, the different plants, the different curing methods will provide different products. Okay, let's get back and talk a little bit about the vanilla orchid. There's a few different species. Like I said, I have 2, but there's lots of different species that are out there and that grow. There are actually a few species that are native even to Florida, into this area. Now, I've never seen them, but there are species, and I think there may be over 30 different species of vanilla. And again, the one that I have that most people refer to, that talk about, is Vanilla planifolia. The other vanilla species is tahitensis. That is also one of the two that is commercially approved to be extracted where vanilla is formed. The other vanilla orchids do produce the vanilla flavoring, but it's not at that same level. So there's two main vanilla species that are used for production of vanilla. Again, the one that I have, the one I want to talk about, is Vanilla planifolia. And propagation of Vanilla planifolia, it's so easy, it's so simple, it's incredible. It's a vine, like I've shown you right here, and there's nothing to it. When you look at the vine of this plant, at every node on this plant, everywhere there's a leaf that's coming out, typically there's roots that form. And what the vanilla orchid normally does in this situation is it attaches to whatever's around it. So, in nature, it climbs up trees or bushes or whatever's around. So it grows up, and then the roots attach to it. So these roots are primarily used for adherence to whatever structure they're climbing up, but they're typical orchid roots, and so they're also involved in water and nutrient uptake as well. Most of the vanilla orchids are terrestrial as well, so the roots and the base of the plant is going to go down, into the ground. And because of this, there's incredible flexibility for how you can propagate and root this vanilla. So I have, in this case, this vanilla, and this, I should say, this I had to tear away from my shed behind me. I have this growing on my shelves here, and I should mention there's vanilla right here that's growing up through my shelves, and this is growing in a pot that's about at the level where my feet are. So this is a 4 to 5 foot plant right here, and this is just growing up. It's sticking to the shed. It's a metal shed. It's also growing up a little bit on the wood. And this one I actually pried. It was pretty easy to pry off, because this plant I want to take a cutting of to show you how to how to propagate this plant. All right. So anyway, this vanilla orchid, and I should say that all of my planifolia plants were from the same initial plant that I picked up at a garden store. My Vanilla pompona that I have, and Vanilla pompona grows, like I said, it grows really big. It's got larger leaves. I have had this flower, and I've selfed the flower on the Vanilla pompona. This was a gift for everyone that attended the Vanilla Symposium, so that was nice. The thing is growing up my palm tree. Every time it grows a few feet, what happened is a leaf of the palm tree falls off and knocks the top off, and it gets stunted. Then it has to put out another new apical growth from an axillary bud, so it's kind of slowed down a little bit. But it still keeps on growing, and it's actually flowered for me a few times. I haven't got the Vanilla pompona to flower, but they're smaller flowers, a little bit of a different color, but they're vanilla. It's a very similar thing. Okay, so back to this, back to this guy. So what happens is you can grow this. So I've got a vanilla, my Vanilla pompona is in the ground growing up my palm tree. I have another Vanilla planifolia that's growing on the base of this vanilla. I have this that's growing in, so it's the base of the vanilla, which means it's also in soil. I have this that's growing in bark. And I have this vanilla that was a fairly recent cutting that's growing in this is a ground up date palm tree that was from the front of my house. So it's a real kind of a mix, a real rough mix. These things are so easy to propagate, and they're so easy to grow. They'll grow in anything as long as the moisture is there. This really looked bad. when I planted this, but I just shoved it in here and kept it wet, and it put out this new growth. This has probably been in here for maybe a couple of months, 3 months at the most, but very simple to propagate. Okay, what are we going to do today? Well, you can grow it in anything. You can grow it in dirt. You can grow a bark, whatever this date palm, ground up date palm base is. But today what I want to do is I want to plant this in the sphagnum moss. And again, you can put this in, you can grow this stuff in it. This is very responsive. The last cutting that I took, like I said, it was almost dead, and I shoved it in a pot, and it's growing after a few months. I have this thing staked up. It's not necessary. You can just lean this up against something. The roots that are coming out of each of the nodes will just attach to whatever's there, and they'll grow up there just fine. Okay, so let's get back to this one. How do you do this? It's so simple. So what you do on this is you just take a cutting. So I'm going to take a cutting of this plant, and I have my my instrument right here that I've already flamed, so this is flamed and now cool, and I think I want to take it, I'm just going to take it right here, because that was where there was another shoot growing out from that area. So this is my cutting. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of remove this leaf at this node. You know, it's not coming off really easily, so I'm going to cut it off. And I'm going to remove this leaf. And what I got to do is be careful. And that's all I'm going to do. So on this cutting, what you have is a root here and a root here that are already formed. And so these roots are going to grow and establish. The physiology of the different roots on this plant, they have a little bit different function. So these roots that are aerial roots will kind of change, and they'll grow into this, in this case, this sphagnum moss. So they'll grow in and they'll change, and the function changes just a little bit depending on where the roots are located. So anyway, what I'm going to do just is to make a hole in this sphagnum moss right here, and plop this cutting down in here, and you know, I'm going to add a little bit more sphagnum to this. All right, and I do like using sphagnum for my orchids in certain situations. If you get a good sphagnum moss, it'll actually minimize the rotting that you're going to get you know, when you do this. But I'm just doing this, and I'm just going to leave this outside. And I would imagine this is a really nice cutting. I would just imagine that I'm going to get you know, elongation and establishment of this pretty soon. I've got a lot of plants here. I got to start getting rid of these things, or planting them around more of the base of more of the palms in my property. But I'll probably just get rid of them some way or the other. But really, again, very easy to propagate, very easy to grow. I look forward. I think my pompona has some flowers, very small, coming out on them. I'm looking forward to pollinating those flowers and getting some capsules. I don't know if I want to put the effort into making and curing the vanilla beans, the vanilla capsules, in order to generate my own flavoring. I just don't know if that's worth it. I'll just buy it at the store. I think that's fine. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my very simple video on vanilla propagation. If you like my video and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you could click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.